my YouTube peeps, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to become a travel nurse. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Rey Ann. I recently took the leap of faith into travel nursing in July of 2019. I am on my second contract now here in San Francisco Bay Area. This lifestyle has totally changed the game for me. It's changed my whole mindset. It's changed my whole career path and where I want to go in the future. And I remember when I first started doing research for travel nursing, it was very overwhelming. There's so much research out there. It's kind of hard to figure out what to look at and who to believe, I guess you could say, because there is a lot of information out there. So I created a video to show you guys 10 whole steps to kind of get you through the process of how to become a travel nurse. So enjoy. Step numero uno, obtain your nursing license. So this can be an LPN or an RN, and you can go several ways into obtaining this. Of course, you have to go to nursing school. You do have to get an associate's or a bachelor's in nursing. So with that being said, my biggest suggestion to you guys is when you're in the beginning stages of becoming a nurse and getting into nursing school, if you have the opportunity to and you know that you want to do travel nursing down the line, get a compact license. Agencies will pay for each license for each state that you go to, but it's just easier when you have a compact license because that, for those of you who don't know, a compact license is actually a license that holds over to practice in nursing in several different states. However, there are some states that you do have to apply for separate nursing licenses. Again, your agency or your company should be paying for those licenses. Numero dos, and this one I kind of really want to highlight on, is getting your experience in your specialty. So I do know that it is possible, I believe, to get travel nurse jobs with 1 year of med surg. However, if you're specializing in anything like emergency department, ICU, cath lab, PACU, OR, anything like that, most hospitals, not the agency, most hospitals want that 2 years or more of experience. Not saying it's impossible to get a job with just 1 year of experience, and if it's anything less than a year, you honestly should be questioning, number one, the agency, and number two, the hospital. To me, I just feel like if I was a patient, I would want someone who had at least a year of experience as a nurse before they took care of me. And that is just my personal opinion, and I think a lot of other travel nurses will say the same, but obviously I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm just here to give some, things that I've learned over time. So that is just my biggest suggestion, is please get your experience. Yes, nursing is one of those things that it's easier to be very hands-on and learn as you do. However, it is kind of scary sometimes when, let's say, like, you're a brand new nurse, you're a year into it, and you barely know how to be a real nurse. And this isn't me knocking anyone, like, this is me from experience and in my nursing career altogether, is you barely know how to be a new nurse. And then when you jump into travel nursing, you have to hit the ground running like this. You have 1 to 2 days orientation. Sometimes I've heard of orientation periods being like 5 hours of the shift, and then the rest you're kind of just on your own. So you have to be very resilient, very ready to learn, very ready to catch on to things really easily. So if you don't see that in yourself right now, please just continue at your hospital. Don't worry, travel nursing will be there for you. You just need to get that experience. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Numero tres, get your certifications up to date and kind of get any certifications in your specialty that will diversify and boost up your resume. And this is huge with travel nursing. And I mean, travel nurses are very lucrative, but it's also very competitive. So it could be me and 5 other nurses applying for the same job, and guess what? Because this other nurse has 1 credential higher than mine, they actually may get hired for that exact reason. So I want to be able to show them through my credentials, like, hey, I'm certified in my CEN, my TNCC, and I have ACLS and BLS. I have all of these things under my belt, and I have X amount of experience. I deserve to work at this hospital, and like, why should I want to work at your hospital? Like, you have to be able to ask yourself that too. And just another tip for you guys, if you are still at your permanent hospital, please, please, please take advantage of the hospital paying for any certifications. Some of these certs are super expensive. They're like $200, $300, $400. Like, excuse me, I'm not about to pay that much money. But if y'all want to pay for it, I mean, I'm about to take that test. So definitely get, you know, what you can done and paid for out of somebody else's pocket. Sometimes the agency will actually reimburse you for certifications, like a recertification or an actual new certification. If you want to take it, you do have to discuss those things with your recruiter in advance. If you can renew them right before you start travel nursing, it makes the process so much smoother, because you don't have to be re-upping your certifications in the middle of your contract, figuring out what days are you going to have off, what days you're going to have to take off to be able to update these certifications or renew these certifications. So it just makes it a ton easier. Numero cuatro. Yes, cuatro. I had to count for a second. Okay, is finding a recruiter that fits your lifestyle. Guys, I am so serious about this. I am currently with a recruiter that I like working with, but I know that I have other recruiters under my belt that I would probably, and I'm going to probably work with a little more on my next contract, just because, you know, agencies, they're big business, and I get that. They have to make money, they have to pay their middlemen, blah, 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 blah. However, you want to have a recruiter that almost feels like your friend. You want someone who's going to fight for you, who's going to not lowball you on offers, who's going to be able to offer you things that, you know, other companies aren't. So there's thousands of recruiters. There's hundreds of agencies. So it is very overwhelming in the beginning to be able to find an agency. It is, I will admit. But just kind of, you know, for your first contract, get as much information as you can. Find travelers on your unit. If you have travelers, ask them for the recruiter's information. You can even reach out to me. I'm happy. I'm not one of those travel nurses that like, sign up with my recruiter, because we all get those referral bonuses. Like, genuinely, I have recruiters that I refer to people because I know I trust them and the information that they give. So definitely, if you have other travelers on the unit, ask them who their recruiter is, just so you can contact them and ask them questions, because they're the experts, right? They know mostly all of the correct information about travel nursing, and you can ask them a plethora of questions. Most good recruiters will not pressure you into travel nursing, and they won't pressure you into getting started ASAP, and they won't make you feel uncomfortable. I mean, you just have to be very open and very transparent with these recruiters, because again, at the end of the day, this is their job and they do have a job to do. It is big business, but you need to find someone who you really feel comfortable with. And trust me when I tell you, if your intuition is telling you no, go with that intuition. My best advice on this is just do your research, people. And you don't know how many times you're gonna hear me say that in this video, but just do your research. And again, it is very overwhelming because everyone thinks that their agency is amazing, but you know what, there are Facebook sites and other sites that will tell you, stay away from this company, this is their situation. You know, everyone has something to say about something. It's who you vibe with, who's transparent with you, and who's trying to get you that money. I mean, if that's one of your reasons for travel nursing, like I know it is for me, I need someone who's going to be super open and super transparent with me. Some people want a recruiter and the agency that is constantly contacting them, kind of like holding their hand through the process. And like, you know, for my first couple of contracts, I definitely wanted that. This was something that I was brand new to. I'd done a bunch of research on it, but I just wanted someone who's going to say, okay, step 1, this is how you do it. Step 2, this is how you do it. Like, I'm very like checklist type of person. It's my type A personality. It's just who I am. I just need that kind of, you know, organization in my life. So while other people, they just want to be contacted once. They just want to be given the information straight out and been like, okay, call me when your contract's up so we can get you a new contract. So it is very specific to you. I will continue to say, do your research. I also suggest, this is huge, people, have at least 3 to 4 agencies and recruiters under your belt. I would say like 1 big agency, 1 small agency, and a couple like medium to big agencies, so you can compare pay packages. And as you become and look into more research as being a travel nurse, you'll see that different agencies offer different contracts, and that's because bigger agencies, sometimes they have more accessibility to more hospitals, more like lucrative hospitals, which is awesome. But sometimes they don't pay as much, or sometimes they do, but let's just, for the most part, they pay average, right? It's because they have to pay so many middlemen. So finance people, the scheduling people, your recruiter, obviously, everything to kind of run the business. While there are other agencies that are medium or small and they don't have as much overhead to pay, so they're offering more money. You just have to make sure that you're getting the information right and that your recruiter is talking about why they're paying you this so much. Again, open communication and transparency. Número 5. This is probably the most daunting aspect of the beginning stages of travel nursing. However, it is building your profile and getting in all of that lovely paperwork. I will be making a video in the future on how I keep my documents, my certifications, all of my travel nursing stuff on my computer, on a hard drive, on an external drive, that if I ever wanted to apply to other agencies, I just literally send them all that information and boom, I'm done. Don't have to worry about it, other than the skills checklist, which we will talk about a little bit later. So just getting in all this information is a lot of work, but it's just part of the process. It's a part of, like, you remember when you first started at your new hospital, you had to get all of that paperwork in. All of it is still going to happen for every single agency that you apply to. So just building and having all of your stuff together in one area, not all over the place, so you can build your profile more easily. So once you find your agency and your recruiter, you will have to complete and send in like your application for the actual agency, your resume, all your nursing license, your certifications, your references. Those are really important, so make sure you're getting those good references in, and people you trust, and obviously they're going to say good things about you. Verifying your tax home. I will talk about this in a later video, but you cannot take the tax-free stipends if you do not have a tax home. And to complete the lovely skills checklist. So let's talk about that for a second. A skills checklist is a list of skills that you actually have to rate yourself. It's usually like 0 to 5, or like no experience to proficient on things such as like IV skills, arterial lines, like things very specific to your to your specialty. And please people, don't lie on the skills checklist. I am telling you that to save you. And number 2, it's just not good to lie, especially in this career. Like, it's just not good to lie. So, or in life, sorry. So when you are doing your skills checklist, if you don't have any experience in it, put no experience. And if you like, don't overrate yourself. This is basically a way for the hospital to determine if you are a good fit for their hospital. So let's say that they get a lot of cardiac patients and you're not that good with cardiac patients. It may not be the best place for you, but if they do hire you, guess what? You're gonna get that experience. But what I'm trying to say is don't lie on the skills checklist, because if you're in a situation where, let's say you said you were proficient in arterial lines and you are constantly getting patients with art lines, you're putting the patient at risk, you're putting your license on the line, and ultimately, like, yes, you can learn, and I think learning is definitely a huge part about travel nursing, but let's say that there's a huge like code situation, or the patient's art line isn't working, their blood pressure is actually way lower than it's supposed to be. That's on you. You said that you were proficient in that skill and you weren't, and that's really terrifying. So just please people, be honest and keep that skills checklist up to date. Número 6, which is submitting for your first travel job. You are on your way. I did want to mention that some people have been saying that it's been kind of difficult to get their first travel nurse job, and I will say there's definitely some truth to that. I think it really just comes down to 3 things. It's how picky are you being, how much money are you asking for, and what kind of experience do you have. So I'm just gonna be real with you guys. If Hawaii has been your first assignment as a travel nurse, I am so jealous of you. That's freaking awesome. But you're not gonna be a nurse in Hawaii on your first contract getting paid $2,000 a week or more. You know, it's just not. Hawaii is one of those destination locations that everyone wants to go to, so Hawaii hospitals can name their price at whatever they want and people will go. So just kind of setting some realistic goals for yourself. Just talking with your recruiter, making sure they know what you need, your non-negotiables for any contract and for your nursing or your travel nurse career. So yes, it may take a couple months sometimes, or a couple weeks, or sometimes a couple days. And it really just sometimes it is luck of the draw, and other times it just takes some time, because like I said, if you have less than a year of experience, or maybe you don't have a trauma certification, or you don't have, I don't know, something that this hospital wants, because some hospitals are very picky about what they want, then they won't hire you. So they're just trying to pick who the best candidate is, and don't take it personally. I've seen plenty of well-equipped, amazing nurses not get the travel job that they applied for or even an interview for it. Just don't take it personally. Everything happens for a reason, at least in my mind. Nothing that's meant for you will pass you. So just keep applying, keep trying, you'll get one, trust me. Kind of a little pro tip, I'm not a pro, but I'm just gonna say a pro tip, is some agencies have exclusive contracts with hospitals, and sometimes that's like an immediate in, and I'm not saying, again, if you have less than a year of experience, you can't have an immediate in at these facilities, but some agencies have exclusive contracts, and that's how I got my first assignment. And it was intentional. So there was this hospital that I really wanted to have my first nursing contract in, and this agency had an exclusive contract with them. So I was like, boom, let's do it. I talked to that recruiter, got me a job. It wasn't as easy as I'm saying it is. It was a lot of hard work, but what I'm saying is I was qualified for that job and they had an exclusive. So number one, when agencies have exclusive contracts, they usually have a better pay. So most agencies, most recruiters have the same pay package or similar pay packages, like the bill rate. We'll talk about that in a later video, bill rate from the hospital, but most of the time the exclusive agencies with the hospital will pay a little bit more, and they have a good relationship with the hospital, so of course they're going to take those nurses over other agencies that are applying for it. You guys, don't let recruiters force you into taking a job. Don't let them scare you. Don't let them say, oh, we got to take this contract soon or it might like go away really fast. Unless you truly trust your recruiter, and sometimes this comes with a little bit of experience in the travel nurse world, don't let them scare you or force you into anything you don't want to do. Again, if your intuition is telling you, I don't really feel like this is the best hospital for me, I don't feel like this is the most comfortable situation, like, trust your gut, people. It's probably never failed you in the past, so it's probably not going to fail you now. The last thing you want is to spend 13 weeks, which isn't horrible, and you can survive it. The last thing you want is to be 13 weeks on a contract that you didn't even want to be in. And I kind of will go back to where you can't, when you are being picky but not as picky for those contracts, like sometimes you do for your first contract have to settle for some that maybe not be your first choice, but that once you get that first contract, it kind of shows other hospitals that are looking for travel nurses, hey, they have one contract under their belt, look, they've got really great reviews from the hospital and their company, let's give them a chance. Numero 7, and you will continue to hear me say this, is do your damn research, people, from valid sources, especially about the hospital and the location that you're going to be living in. So you will hear this quite often in the travel nurse world. You can do anything for 13 weeks. It is true. It is a very short amount of time, and it flies. Fly. Come on. There we go. It'll fly. Bye. But the last thing you want to do is, sign a contract with a hospital that you really do not like. And every travel nurse contract will not be perfect. Some will have, amazing pros, and some will have horrible cons. So, and my experience has been amazing through and through, and I mean, knock on wood, I still hope it continues being like that, but that doesn't leave me in the future to think like that I won't have a bad contract, and I'm not looking forward to that if it does happen. But you just have to be prepared with that information. You have to ask, especially if you do get an interview with that hospital, what's the patient population like? What is the surrounding areas like? What is the teamwork like? Because nursing is all about teamwork, people. I don't care what profession or what specialty you're in. Most of the time, it is about teamwork. And what the culture is like in the hospital, what their mission is, all of these things are really important, and you will see, especially as you go to hospitals, that some hospitals don't hold up to those things. But I feel like even if you do some research on the hospital prior to, you can get a good idea of what it's like. A big pro tip, again, is joining Facebook resources or finding other resources, and I actually will leave a couple really great links below to valid sources on what kind of experience nurses have had in hospital. So at thegypsynurse.com, oh sorry, at the Gypsy Nurse, yeah, at the gypsynurse.com and the Gypsy Nurse Facebook, you can actually look in the search bar for, like, let's say I'm looking up San Francisco General Hospital and I want some information on it, or someone who's worked there or asked a question about it in the whole group of Gypsy Nurse travel nurses. It will pop up, it'll show me the most recent stuff. You can reach out to those nurses, people. Don't be scared, okay? I'm one of those people that I will ask you a question about anything just because I want to learn. I have like such a learner's mentality all the time, and I want you guys to have the same. So reach out to those nurses, ask them, hey, just saw you finish a contract here, or hey, just saw that you asked a question about this hospital. Did you work there? Can you tell me what the staff is like? Can you tell me what the population is like? And get your questions answered. Numero ocho. Okay, signing the contract, people. This is the biggest part. This is, your foot is almost in the travel nurse world. You're almost there. And it's signing that contract. People, you have to understand the pay breakdown and the contract that you are signing. This is a freaking binding agreement between the hospital, you, and the agency about your pay. Nobody be messing with my pay, okay? And my license. Nobody better be messing with my license either. I worked damn hard for that thing, and blood, sweat, and tears went into that. So just making sure you understand what the contract says. Things that are really important in your contract, like the start and end date. You'd be surprised. It needs to be on the contract. And you can kind of refer to this as like nursing. If it wasn't documented, it wasn't done. So if it's not in the contract, guess what? People can get through loopholes. And when I'm talking about people, I'm talking about big corporate agencies. So please just read your contract and understand it. If you have questions about your contract, reach out to me, reach out to your recruiter, or even just a travel nurse that you know, and kind of, you know, just bring it by them. Like, hey, does this look good? Am I missing anything? Like, what about the overtime rate? What about my vacation time? And having that in your contract, having your requested vacation time in your contract, you need to negotiate that with your agency before you sign the contract and make sure that the hospital is going to approve it, because the last thing you want is to have that trip booked and you know it's in the middle of your contract and they deny it. You're probably going to go anyways, let's be honest, but you're probably going to get in a lot of trouble. And when you miss days on your contracts, guess what? You don't have any paid leave. You got to pay the agency most of the time. So just please understand your contract, understand the bill rate, understand every breakdown and verbiage that is used in your contract before you sign your life away. Numero 9, and we're almost wrapping this up, so bear with me, people, is getting all of your credentials and your paperwork and everything done for the hospital. So we're not talking about all of your stuff that you already submit in through your profile with the agency. We're talking about your N95 mask fitting, your blood test. They'll usually do like a drug screen on you. So, you know, when you started at your permanent hospital, they had you do all that onboarding process. You do that with every hospital that you sign on with. So you have to, you know, do an orientation period. And every hospital is different in the kind of information and paperwork that they need. So let's say that you got a TB test on your arm at your last contract, but they need one within like a 3-month period or 6-month period. Guess what? You're gonna be getting that TB injection on your arm again. And I don't know why I'm so scared of getting those. Like, I'm not scared, but I just don't like the little wheel that they put on my arm, and I always stare at it too, like that helps. But the good news is your agency should be paying for this. And when I say should, is you need to ask them. And usually they'll tell you like, yes, we pay for all of your onboarding stuff. And you remember those lovely modules that you usually do when you first start at a hospital? You gonna be doing those too. So usually there's like, sometimes there's like a test that you have to pass before you even get before you even get to start at that hospital. Or they have like a medication test you have to do, or an EKG rhythm test you have to do. So it kind of depends on like your specialty or what kind of floor you're going to. So they make sure that you are competent in your skills to be able to, you know, be a nurse, take care of those people. It's come, people. Numero 10. We are almost finished with this. And it's starting your travel assignment. It is very exciting, and congratulations on if you are watching this video and you are in literally the process of what I've just talked about, or you're already a travel nurse. Hell yeah, travel nurse gang. Or you're just a you're just a student nurse just watching this. I hope that you maybe one day want to do this, or it just sparks a little interest in your brain. But this is the point where your recruiter should be checking in with you pretty frequently. They should be making sure that you know all of your pre-orientation stuff, where you park, or if they have any suggestions on like your first day. And you know, really good recruiters will text you and call you and be like, hey, I know this is so cheesy, but I mean, it helped me. They're like, hey, I hope you have a great first day of work. Let me know if you need anything. I'm at work from this time to this time. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Those are the recruiters that you want, guys. Those are the recruiters that are going to be there for you and actually care. All right, guys, those were the 10 steps that I took, and I just feel like are very kind of easy and straightforward to follow, and just trying to be able to find your information in between those top 10 things to help pave the way, hopefully, for you guys to become travel nurses if that is truly something that you aspire to be in the future. This career path is very unique, and with a lot of growing pains, it is still one of the hardest things and best things I've done for myself other than nursing itself. So feel the fear and do it anyways. Take the leap of faith and you will not regret it. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel to watch, and I will continue to be posting more content, especially about travel nursing. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button, and follow me on social below. I'll leave my handle. There's going to be a ton of resources in the actual bio section, or whatever you want to call it, so please take a look at that. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming back, and see you later.